So this is day 2 of the financial literacy course. And today we're specifically going to be focusing on income and earnings and different what you do with what you earn. So for review, last time the lesson was over budgeting and how to budget what you earn, but this time I'm going to talk about where you actually get the money from.
Okay.
So, all right, so for sorry, it's not letting me see my mic. Okay. So first is that I do have a Google Classroom. There's not much on it right now, but it is a good way to ask questions. And I'll be uploading like different like helpful videos and resources for things that are related to what we're learning. So that's obviously there if you want to join. And the link is also going to be sent out soon. So if you don't want to put in a code, I will send a link soon.
Okay.
Mhm. So first, we're gonna do a review. So we talked about income and how it's usually money that's received on a regular basis for work or through investments. And although it is mostly common that you earn your like steady income through a job, there's a lot of different little things that you can do to earn your own income. So first, we're going to start with jobs. Establishing a career is probably the most common way to earn an income. You usually go to a school and then pick a job that you do either part-time or full-time. Um, so usually it is when you have a career, you have two routes you can go, whether or not you want to do college, like a 4-year college, or if you want to stick to something that's like a community college, a trade school, or just earning a license for a job that you want to do. So obviously colleges cost a lot of money, so it's important to decide which route you want to do before you start applying to places. Now, the first route is doing like trade school or community college or just getting a license, like I said. And usually the jobs that you would have for these kind of like schools are like, they have electricians that tend to actually make a lot of money nowadays because they're so rare. You can do digital marketing. Usually you don't need that much um, schooling per se for that. You just mostly need training. Graphic design is the same way, um, etc. It really depends on how far you want to go in the job that you pick. And a lot of people have this misconception that if you do like a community college or something like that, you won't be getting as much of a decent pay as other jobs. And the difference is that the best way to explain it is that you can make a decent income with community college. It really just depends on what you pick to do. So the second route would be it can still count as sometimes community college, but it's that you go for a 4-year degree or even higher. Um, it depends. These are more usually like STEM-based jobs or um, jobs that just like require a lot of experience in different things. For example, doctors, you usually have to take a bunch of prerequisite courses and then go even farther into medical school. Entrepreneurs usually attend business school when they want to learn more about the markets that they're working in. And then, of course, engineers or scientists, they do tend to need a lot of science experience for their jobs. And then lawyers are similar to doctors where they have a bunch of prerequisites, but they still have to end up going to law school. The key with these kind of schools is that you really want to pick where you want to go based off of affordability and like quality of education. College is expensive, so it's important to apply for scholarships, for grants, or even, and also, of course, for FAFSA, specifically when you start applying in high school. So now let's talk about side hustles because when you do apply for college, you are going to have to find a way to pay for it. Or even if you're taking a bunch of really good courses in school, like AP courses, things like that, when you get to high school, they do cost money for each exams. So a lot of people try to have side hustles, specifically starting in high school and then working their way up. So I like to categorize these by like two different types of side hustles. You can do um, things like cashiering, if you want to be a cashier for like your favorite store, working in fast food. Um, Janitor is usually not common for high schoolers, but there's always an opening. Um, there's a bunch of different jobs you can do. Library assistants do hire as well, etc. Or servers. And then unofficial side hustles will be more when you try to do things um that are more like under the counter. So people usually pay you like in cash or pay you with a favor or food or something else. That would be like mowing your neighbor's lawn. They usually pay you in cash for that. Babysitting, if you just babysit like your neighbor or your friend, walking dogs, house sitting, all of those things are stuff that they can pay you without you having to necessarily commit to a schedule all the time or something that you can do that they just pay you in cash for like a one-time thing. And those are really easy, those are really important to consider, especially when saving up for money for school.
Okay.
And then, oh, sorry, yes, continue.
Um. So the other ones are like the official side hustles. Like, are they just like more of like everybody can join? Like places you can. It's,
Yeah. They're more stuff that you sign up for and that other people can sign up for. Sometimes things like babysitting, they kind of only trust like one person to do it, and they might pay you just like a couple times. Whereas like if you work in fast food and you sign up to do it and they hire you, you're usually going consistently. Um, and they have like a record of how many hours you've worked, you have a specific pay, like everything is very like on record. Whereas like the unofficial side hustles are more things that you kind of do casually, if that makes any sense.
oh, okay.
Yeah. For me personally, I've done more official side hustles. I work in like restaurants and things like that. It just really depends on how much you're available and how much time you're willing to commit to a job, and also just what jobs are available. I personally did an official side hustle because I wanted to have a set day and I didn't want to have to reach out to people for jobs to do. I wanted to just have a place to go every Saturday or every Sunday. Okay. So another thing that we'll talk about with earning income, because obviously side hustles are things you can do to help earn income, not super consistently, but they are to help you save money, but also investing, which is purchasing like assets, with the expectation that those assets will earn income or increase in value over time. So purchasing assets, they're basically things that are worth money that in the end you can either just keep them to yourself or a lot of time you sell them so that way they make you more money because they're worth more at the time you sell them than from when you bought them. The best example is like a house. Usually when somebody buys a house when they're younger and they plan on moving to a bigger house when they're older, they like to buy it when the housing market is good. That way, whenever later on houses become worth more money, they can sell their house for more money and make their own money off of it. It's all a strategy in making money, but these ones do take time. So, for example, like stocks, it's buying a small piece of a company, and if the company does well, then that piece of the company you own becomes worth more. And you can either choose to keep it and wait till you get it to a price that you want to sell it at, or you can just sell it in the moment. Bonds are loans that you give to a company or the government, and then they just pay you back later because of the fact that you gave them money. They pay you back even more money. Real estate would be when you buy like a house or land. A lot of the time, if you buy land near like a city and they start building around it, it becomes worth a lot more money as well. And then a business investment would be when you give money to a business to help them grow and you end up profiting off of it. So if your friend has an idea for a restaurant and you give them money to start up their restaurant and it does well, you can earn money from that. All right. So one other thing we should talk about are income brackets. because as you start earning money, whether you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, or let's say you want to become a web designer or an electrician, like we talked about, each job makes an averaged certain amount of money each year. Um, and every job kind of has like that predetermined. So you can tell what kind of job you want to have, how much you want to make based off of how much you want to spend when you're older. So for example, four-figure jobs, they make a certain amount of money a year. They're usually the part-time jobs, like the ones you asked about. If I want to work at a restaurant, um, depends what my job is. Usually if I'm a server and I work all the time, I have around like a four-figure job, depending what restaurant, of course. But a lot of times it's usually they're usually jobs that are more aimed towards people who want to work part-time or want to work several part-time jobs at the same time. There's a bit less you can afford with a four-figure job. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's always recommended that you aim for like five-figure jobs and above so that you're also comfortable with the amount of money you have. A five-figure job is like usually, um, I guess you would think of your like if you have an office and you're like an assistant to someone, it's usually a five-figure job. Mid-level, it's the majority of the US. Both my parents work five-figure jobs. They're very much in the middle. They're not making crazy amounts of money, but they are comfortable. They have enough to spend, but they can't also go spending like crazy. It's like a good balance. Um, and a lot of five-figure jobs do also come with good benefits, so they are good jobs. Now, for six-figure jobs, they're usually the ones who have gone to college or have gotten like a really or higher up education. So this would be your doctors, your lawyers, your surgeons, um, sometimes even engineers, things like that. It is people who have gone to school for a while. Well, also depends on what they do, but most of the time they've gone to school for a while and the job that they've gotten based off their education allows for them to make a good amount of money. And that money means they have enough money for vacations or enough money to buy several cars, maybe even a second house. It really depends on how they use their money. And then seven-figure jobs is probably everyone's dream income bracket to be in. Um, Lots of money. It's usually around like the top, I want to say like maybe like top 10% or top less than that of the country, or like for specifically the US. Really, really rich people, they usually like CEOs or things like that. But again, when you're deciding your job, you want to think about how comfortable you want to be, as in how much money do you want to have, and also what do you actually want to do? And that's how you go deciding your college, like I talked about earlier, and deciding other things. So there is an activity that I thought would be fun to do, which is where you pick a career. Obviously, this isn't binding, but it's a career that you think you might like or that you were thinking about pursuing. And you're going to describe whether or not you need college or how much college you would need for that. And then third, you explain kind of what income bracket it falls into, which if you don't know how to determine that, that's okay. Because honestly, some of these jobs, I don't even know how to determine that. But usually you would just say, okay, this job, you can Google it, it's really quick. This job makes around $60,000 a year, or this job makes around $160,000 a year. It's really up to whatever job you pick. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about it. Um, I can go ahead and give my example so it's a little easier to understand. So for me, I specifically want to work in politics as like a legislator or a politician, which means I would need around a 4-year degree from a college because they usually need to know about the law or they need to know, but they usually are like political science majors, public policy, history. They learn a lot about the different types of laws we have, especially in the US. And then for my income bracket, I put five figure because a legislator or a politician usually makes around $70,000 a year or a little bit more. So, I can give you a couple minutes to look, see what you think you might want to go for, and then let me know the rest.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, I got two in my mind for now, but it's engineer and a um there's like the designers
Mhm.
like how you do on your computer you like graphic design and stuff like that
Oh, like graphic design or web design, something like that.
yes.
Oh yeah, those are all good jobs. Those are all good jobs. Okay.
um I don't know, so I just search up number two or number three or
Well, you can search up, um, I guess I can help you out with that then. We can do this together. Okay.
okay.
So, which one do you want to search up first?
um I guess engineer.
Engineer? Okay. We can exit out of this. Okay. How much money, or let's say, how much school do you need to become an engineer? Let's start with that. Okay. You usually need at least a 4-year degree. So it's like how my job was, you need to go to college for around 4 years.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's actually pretty good. It's not bad. You don't need that much school. Okay.
Okay.
Then how much money does an engineer make a year? Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna be making lots of money. $101,000 per year. That's pretty good. That's around usually okay, so you see when you first start out for entry level, you'll make around 69,000. That's still good. Um, that's almost like the amount that I had. But then as you keep working and you gain more experience, they do have to pay you more, so you'll make around 101,000. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. So for that, let's talk about figure brackets income, and we can see where that falls. Okay, they did not tell me that. Okay. Well, I would say yours falls probably under six figures. And like, oh my gosh, it's not letting me click out of this. Okay, that's weird. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay. So for six-figure jobs, you'll usually be able to, it looks like you'll be able to go on vacation. You'll be able to get some cars, get a nice house. There's a lot of flexibility there. All
Okay.
right. And then do you want to try searching up did you
Like
want which one, sorry?
the designer, I don't know what's called. The designer, I don't know.
Yeah, I get you.
Graphic, I don't know.
So web designers would be people that usually design like websites. Sometimes they do some types of programs, things like that. Really depends on where you work. And then graphic designers would be like, I guess if you see like cool posters, things like that. They do
Um,
stuff like that. Or they might make like, I'll show you like on Canva. You see like these little
mhm,
stickers and stuff.
yes.
Sometimes graphic designers make things like this too.
Okay.
Yeah. So which one do you think you like better?
Um, I kind of want to do a web.
I got you. I got you. I see. Okay. So let's see. How much schooling do you need to become a web designer? Start with that. Okay. At least a bachelor's degree. Wow. Okay. Well, like it says, it's not really strict because it depends on also where you want to work or how far you want to go.
Okay.
But um, I will also say for 4 years, it is pretty good for a web designer means you have more opportunities and people tend to hire you more, specifically because it takes like a lot of experience.
Oh,
So, so yeah, like a 4-year degree, just like the last one, you would just major in something else.
okay.
And then how much money does a web designer make? Okay, so this one is around $72,000. And it seems that if you're the real top dog, you get $100,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. It says usually those with 7 or more years of experience can earn significantly more.
Okay.
So I would say around $72,000. That's usually around a 5-figure job. So maybe just like one little bracket over, but that's still not bad, especially if you want to work with it for a long time. Um, then you'll still be able to earn a lot more money per hour. You get raises and bonuses and things like that. So that's still good. That's still good.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
exciting though. I like your job.
um, I've been on Canva before when I was making like a slideshow, and then
Hmm.
I saw a little figure said you can upload it to the web and other people can see this.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that too. There's a lot of, I think also with Canva, a good thing about graphic design, or let's say if you want to lean towards more web design, but it's just a note for graphic design. A lot of graphic designers do get good jobs working for different companies. Like Canva, they need graphic designers all the time. The whole template for this PowerPoint or this presentation is like a graphic designer designed it. So behind everything, there's someone that gets paid to do it. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but that's so exciting. I know a lot of people who do engineering and they have a lot of fun with it. Well, okay, I'm not like their best friend because they're all older, but they do they do have, they have like nice houses. Um, they usually don't have to worry about money, which is always important. Um, yeah, yeah, those are good choices. So, the only thing I will say, of course, is, um, wait, sorry, how old are you again, Julie?
Um, I'm 11.
And you already have ideas figured out? That is really good. That's really good for you. I didn't had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 11. So, um, but yeah, I'd say like keep looking into it. Engineering is really good. We have also really good schools in Houston. So there's a lot of places that would even pay you to go to school there if you have a real passion for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So honestly, this presentation was pretty short, but it's because I thought we would talk about, the different stuff. I'm really glad we got to go over that. That's all I have for you today.